Welcome everybody, and today we are going to be playing some Diablo 2 Resurrected. The reason why this series is for assassins only is because they're the only class I really know how to play right now. I just got back to playing the game a couple months ago after not playing it since 2003. So I've been specifically focusing on learning how to play my favorite class, which is the assassin, and learning it again. So that is what we will be doing. So today we're going to start off with the simplest and easiest to play, which is the trap. So when we're talking about trap assassins, what we're really doing is we're wanting to stay away from the enemy. We're wanting to throw down our traps, and presumably we'll be pausing frequently and throwing them down before we get into combat. The thing to focus on gear-wise for this build is anything that gives you skill plus and lightning or fire resist minus on the enemy, or lightning and fire resist bonus for your own skills. From what little I've picked up on Amazons and learning this is Javazons have a very similar build as the lightning traps in. So what we have here is two sets of gear. We have a lower level set of gear, and then we have our higher level set of gear, which we'll eventually get into. And then we have our low level weapons. So let me go through and describe the gear, because I've been farming the gear and trying to build it up so that I can make these videos. I have one of each of the three main types of assassins already played and leveled. I have them all in their 80s, and I've been working on building up their gear so that I can prep for this video, so I can make these fresh with the experience and go through it with you. Dark mode activated. Okay, so lower level, you're just, like I said, you just either want defense until you can get into this lower gear, which I don't have it on this one. My other two assassins have it. But what you'll want to have is the Saigon gear, which, let me swap over to one of my other assassins just to show this. For trap assassins, it's not super necessary. The real major necessity for trap assassins on it is it just makes you survivable while you level. So for this one, this is my Bladestorm assassin. This one is up close and personal for a while. It's also closely related to the trap assassin, just because if we go down our tree, trap in this build primarily focus on this talent tree, the traps. But for this build, we're only going to be putting one level into both Fire Blast and Wake of Fire, because what we want to do is we want to maximize these three. But with this build, we're also going to put more skills into Shadow Discipline. Okay, so the Saigon gear. When you have the full set, it increases your defense, it gives you extra damage, it gives you extra attack rating. You don't see the complete set build up here because it'll tell you the complete set, but until you're equipped or wearing it, it doesn't give you the set bonuses. But until you're at level 30, this is really the best gear to wear for 90% of classes, because most of your equipment, no matter what class you play, from going through and looking at it, all requires at least 80-ish strength, and this caps out your requirement at 75 for the shield. So for most classes, you may only go to like 110 strength, and if you max that out early just to wear this, you're going to be a lot more survivable, a lot more livable, especially if you don't join games where you're running with other people in Battle.net and have assistants going through all the quests. So if you're doing it by yourself, or doing ladder, well, ladder is going to be a whole different ball game. I really don't play that much, and that's a different type of gear set. But if you're playing non-ladder for fun, this set will get you a long way. I have 2 sets of it. I originally had 4 sets of it that I had built up from joining free games online, because it's just so good. I gave the other 2 sets to friends while I was relearning the game. So yeah, that's really good for starting out at low levels. Since I'm starting off with the trap, let me come over here and just move these over. Real quick, so that we can proceed with that build. And I'll explain all the stuff that's in my personal chest for each of my classes when we get to those. So let's go back over here to our trap and play. Okay, so here we're just gonna pull this stuff over. Alright, so for traps, like I said, at low levels, what we want is skill levels. Or any level, really. We want skill levels because our gear really doesn't boost our damage unless it gives the enemy minus resistance to electricity or increases our electricity damage. So here I just have 2 mantled heal rings. What they do is they give me mana stolen per hit. That includes what your traps do, so so all of your replenish and regain from these 2 rings, your traps will give you. These give you a lot of life for a level 15 ring, so they keep you alive longer, and they allow your mana to regenerate faster, which, until you start putting points into mana, which you don't need a whole lot into, you're going to run out of mana really quickly when you're running around. This is one of the lowest level items you can get that gives you plus skill for an amulet. Again, it gives you more life stolen per hit, keeping you alive, gives you light radius, gives you defense against missiles, so the things that can't or don't need to run to you, it gives you a little bit better defense against, because there are a lot. You'll hear me talk about the lightning assassin a lot more than the fire. The fire is good for normal and nightmare, but on hell difficulty, so much stuff is immune to fire that at that point it's just best to respec into lightning and stick with lightning and death trap at the higher levels, just because it gets around all resistance. Or you can just start off with lightning and never have to worry about respecking unless you mess up your stats. Okay, so starting off, these are the only rings and amulets I'm going to use on this build until I can equip these 3. So we have the Stone of Jordan, which comes at level 29. gives me +1 to skills, adds 1 to 12 lightning damage to my attacks. Oops, sorry. Adds 1 to 12 damage to my lightning attacks. Gives 20 mana and increases maximum mana by 25%. So this gives me mana in 2 places. Our Ravenfrost gives us attack rating, which really doesn't do much for us. The reason why we have this is the +15 dexterity and +40 mana, and the cold absorb and cannot be frozen. The cold absorb and cannot be frozen really only comes into play in Act 2 and Act 5, but the other stats on here help our build out. And then while I was running a Secret Cow level on Hell difficulty with my higher level assassins, I managed to find this drop, which is +3 to trap skills, which is super good. For assassins, you'll find that if you can get pieces of gear that just add a ton to your skills, like this one's +3 to trap skills, that is better than most of the like special amulets. So the ones with this gold name or the yellow named ones, even set wise. So that's why that's in here for higher level. So you'll notice that I'll swap out all my accessories by level 45. We have our Hellfire Torch, good for every class that you play. I happen to have one of these for each of my builds. I was very lucky that for one of the builds, while I was playing online, because I do not play ladder, there's a couple of items you can only get from playing ladder, which you'll see in another build. But I do want to give a shout out to that friend for giving me the 2 mosaics. That was really appreciative, because that makes one of the builds completely broken and fun. You can also get these in free games occasionally, so if you're new to the game, like completely new, and you're just watching this because you want to pick it up, just be aware that free games are your friend. So make an online character and then search, and whenever you see a free game or cow run games, join those, because the cow run games, you can either get EXP depending on what level you are, or you can jump into them after they've cleared everything and go through and pick up items that are left behind, like runes, gems. Sometimes they'll leave the grand charms, things like that. You can go through and clean up after them if they haven't picked it up, and try and get some good stuff. But nearly every free game, if you stay there long enough, somebody is going to offload like 20 of these. So you can usually get enough to fit your main character and then whatever other characters you want to play. The maximum stats on this are 20 to all resistance, or 20 to all attributes and 20 to all resistance, and experience gain maxes out at 10%. I don't have any perfect ones. I just have a few that are close. They have one of these grand charms for every element, including lightning and physical. I really need to get a hold of a physical one for my martial assassin, but this is going to help with our build, because we're not going to be up front fighting. We're going to be behind. If we're playing multiplayer online, we're going to be behind everybody else. So the lightning resist isn't going to hurt us too much on here. And outside of Act 2, there's not a whole lot that does a lot of lightning damage. Act 2, and then if you do the first quest in Act 4, the area that you have to go to for that is pretty heavily lightning damage. So I would just leave this in my chest if I'm going to go do those. Okay. Moving on to our main gear. So at the lower levels, I made a lore helm, which requires a two-socketed helm, an ort, and a soul rune. I chose this just because I like the look of the helm. You'll notice I make a few poor decisions in optimization with my gear just because I like the look of it when it's on my character better. So I don't completely optimize, but that's my OCD. Like, if my character doesn't look good, because you can't transmog in this game, it really is difficult on me to play the character. So, lore, that helm, built a treachery plate. All three assassins will use a treachery plate, or a treachery armor for most of the game. Our martial sin, depending on if I'm doing like hell cows, or hopefully I can get into start doing some of the proper endgame stuff. Outside of those two, I usually run treachery. If I'm running those, I will swap between an enigma and the I don't know the name of it off the top of my head because I didn't even know it existed until about 2 weeks ago. There's a padded armor, or dust shroud armor, that allows you to increases all elemental damage, and with the mosaic and the martial sin, you're dealing every type of elemental damage with every hit constantly. So that is just a huge boon as an armor. But treachery, the venom when striking, the fade when struck is good. The +2 to assassin skills is primarily why it's there. For the other two builds, the +45 increased attack speed's good. Fast recovery, cold resist. Gold, not so much, but everything above that is why we use that. Gold wrap is generally good for low levels. It gives enhanced defense, more defense, and if you're trying to farm magic items, gold wrap is one of the better belts you can use because it gives you that 30% chance magic items. So if you're doing cow level or the end game zones where you have to create special keys to unlock them, gold wrap would help you there. Frostburn gauntlets, they have enhanced defense and they increase your maximum mana. It's this is on the traps and just because it increases maximum mana, so I don't have to put much skill into mana. The +5% enhanced damage if you're doing the blade assassin works really well there, but at that level there's a couple of better options that just do better enhanced damage. But if you can't get a hold of those, this is a good option. Waterwalk boots, sharkskin boots, give you, again, more enhanced defense, especially versus missiles. Gives you extra life, extra stamina, heals you faster, and it allows you to go over 100 fire resist. I don't ever find myself getting close to that, especially when you get to hell difficulty. It's hard to just stay in the positive for your resists. So there's that. Okay. I got this yesterday as a kind of maybe I might swap it in instead of the gold. Mostly on this one it's because the life stolen per hit and the physical damage received and magical damage reduction. Actually I might just swap those two. I'll put this here. Okay. So, starting from the top down, I got lucky enough in a free game, somebody dropped this. It's Tasha's Bloodhorn Circlet. Or it's a Bloodhorn Circlet, and I had a Tasha's gem to insert into it. So this gives me +2 to traps, +3 maximum damage, minimum damage, which doesn't affect our skills. Adds 1 to 74 lightning damage, so that helps our attacks. Lowers the enemy's lightning resistance, gives our skills 5% more damage, and reduces poison by 25%, which while you're leveling and doing ball runs is great, because the third wave of them, or the second wave where it's from Act 2, just poisons everybody, and it's just a pain. And then at 63, I'll have we'll be using Chains of Honor. If you can't get a Chains of Honor, because I know Chains of Honor, Enigma, and there's a few other high-end armors. If you don't get them in a free game and you're just starting out, might be a little hard to get. It took me 2 months to get my Chains of Honor and Enigma. I got this Chains of Honor from the person who gave me the mosaics, but my Enigma I had to make, and I got lucky enough that while I was trying to farm runes a lot, one free game I joined just ended up dropping a ton that I was able to trade for runes I need. Because rune farming in here is a chore, especially if you don't have good gear. And then when you have good gear, you don't need to rune farm, because that's why you're farming for runes, is to get that gear. Arachnid Mesh. This is super good, not just for trap sins, but for like necromancers, sorceresses, and hammeridins. So you get $1 skills, faster cast rate, you slow your targets, and it gives you +5 to your maximum mana. So again, giving us more mana without having to put skills into it. Dracula's Grasp. This is here because I can't find a better hand for a trap sin, to be fair. We might just be keeping this because it gives us so much more mana. Because we do not get any of those bonuses from our trap sitting. So just set that over there. And then, of course, Centric Boots are just an enhanced version of our Water Walk. But in this case, we get Strength and Vitality. Vitality increases your health, gives you more stamina, slows your stamina strain so you can run around more, gives you better poison resist, and it repairs itself, so you don't have to spend so much gold repairing. Your weapons in this game, you will just need one for your trap. The Call to Arms is a good addition, but you don't need it for the build. But what you need is a spirit. It doesn't have to be a sword. I chose this version of the sword because it looks good with the rest of the armor. But the spirit sword is your go-to and keep the entire time. Adds 2 to your skills. You cast faster because you are a caster as a trap sin. You are, there is a cooldown time as you're trying to throw out more traps. You recover faster, adds more lightning damage, adds some cold damage. You deal poison damage over time, lifesteal per hit. You get a huge buff to your missile defense, a ton of mana, a ton of vitality, which is your health, and it gives you magic absorb. So part of when you take damage, you're going to be absorbing that. So at lower levels, so this is going to be our first trade-off from our Saigon, even though it already gives us 1 skill. This one gives us +1 to skill, faster cast rate, enhanced defense, Gives us energy, increases our maximum mana again, and our light radius. Light radius isn't super big. I don't think I've ever played where it's so dark that having like -3 to your light radius actually makes the game impossible. The game is usually well lit enough for that, unless you play with your settings really low. And then of course we double down on the spirit. This is the standard shield that most high levels use when they have a weapon and board loadout. Again, same reasons as the sword. Our Trapsin just gets to double down on it. And with that, that's our high gear, why we have it. This is our leveling gear for the first part of the game. And with that, let's get started with our actual playthrough. So, when we're questing in Act 1, there's 2 quests outside of the final one that allows you to go to Act 2 that really are necessary. What those quests are is our very first one here. So they're all grayed out. This one is the Den of Evil. If you're new to Diablo, the Den of Evil is a must in every single difficulty you play. This just gives you 1 free skill. So that gives us 1 free talent or skill point that we can put into our skill tree. The other super important one here is this one. This is where we get access to Deckard Cain. So essentially we save the wise old man from Diablo 1, and he helps us out. So while we're out exploring, these are the 2 we're going to focus on. As long as you complete this one in normal difficulty, you can gain access to mercenaries across the 3 difficulties. But when you unlock it, when you complete this in Nightmare and Hell difficulty, it does kind of give better access to better mercenaries. So they'll have better skills, higher skills. Act 5 is the only other place where your mercenary skill or quest helps, and that's because that gives you the Barbarian mercenary after you complete that skill or quest. So let's go find our Den of Evil. Evil!
They'll never see me coming.
That is what she said. And yes, if you're watching this before you pick the game up, because you like, I just need some simple game. Literally, you just play it with your mouse. At higher levels, for a couple of the builds, I will actually be using my F keys to swap between skills. But that is... It depends on what class you play on, how necessary that is. I feel like there's at least 1 build for each class that requires you to skill swap frequently. This one is not. And of course, chests are just trapped. And there it is. It's the Den of Evil! Come, barnacle boy. So yeah,
dark.
here. Den of Evil.
Perfect.
Den of Evil. Kill all the monsters in the den. So this is team team deathmatch, essentially. Or no, last man standing deathmatch. So when you're going through, especially in Acts 1 and 2, there are these little monster gremlins. They show back up at certain points in 5, but the one here with the staff you want to kill first because he will keep reviving all the little ones and make your life a nightmare. So I'm just going to click this to get it off my screen. I will deal with my skills here after I get level 6. And yes, this entire game is right click or left click. So it's very accessible for a game. And if you've never played this before and you're just like, why would anybody play this? Especially Diablo 2, since there's Diablo 4 out now. The game was just so well made back in the 90s that I played Diablo 3. Diablo 3 has none of the charm of Diablo 2. I played it long enough to complete a single playthrough and follow the storyline and gameplay. Just Diablo 2 is a major improvement over Diablo 1, and then from there it's just, I don't know. I have yet to play Diablo 4 just because of how disappointed I was with Diablo 3. So at some point I may be giving that a try. See, he's reviving them, so I gotta get through them to kill him. Oh, he's got a buddy down here. Now I can kill all the minions. I think I missed the guy back here. Yep. Okay. I've got to be better at looking down at my chat. Okay, I'm going to clear up around here real quick first. Just because there are way too many of them down there right now. Okay, nothing's there, so I can kill these two. The good thing about it is they can't revive them from, like, certain distances away, and they have to be within line of sight. So, see how he had to walk around the corner to revive them? Gotta get rid of those two. Okay, move that way. Somebody somewhere because it took it a minute to give us the objective. Oh, I saw a topaz. Oh yeah, give me that. 2 monsters remaining. Okay, let's see where they run off to. there's one. Did somebody else get revived as is running around over here? No. There's always the one. Aha. Okay. So that we've completed that.
Test is done.
We can get rid of that. Use our scroll of town portal. This will allow us to go right back to the main encampment. That gem is getting put over here so I can go to my mule. Then we need to talk to Akara. While the exit to the map changes every time you log into a character or play,
Hello.
the locations of NPCs doesn't. So Akara will always be down here in the lower right corner of the map. There's nothing over in the lower left. Kasha, Kane, and Mesha are always in the middle. The Smith is always here, and then the Gambler and more magical items dude is always over here. This is one of the unique starting towns, as when you log in or go into your server, it can randomly generate whether it goes out the east, north, west, or south of the town. In Act 2, it can only go out the north or the west and north. Act 3, it can only go out to the, what on our map would be like the north-ish quadrant. Act 4, it only goes out this way. And then Act 5, you can only go out that way. So this is the only one where you really have variant options. And then Act 2 is the next one. And then I think the programming got burdened. So they didn't do that for any of the later generations. So here we're going to put just 1 point into Fire Blast. We can't put anything into here until we get to level 6. So we're just going to wait till we get level 6. We're not going to, outside of maxing this for damage output for our higher level sentries and Death Trap, we're really not going to level... Oh, we do need Fire Blast for this sentry. Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. What we're going to really need to do is max out these two for Lightning Sentry, and then once we get these two maxed, we can get at least one skill into this, which requires level 24, then we can go back and max out that. But this only affects the damage output of Charged Bolt Sentry and Death Sentry for the Lightning line. What we're primarily going to focus on until we get to health difficulty is using these two. And so, this one, Fire Blast will affect. This one's really good at low levels, but I always go back and fill out Fire Blast last. Just because at low levels, it's harder to use than Shocking Web. Because it's like throwing a grenade.
Hello. My rogue scouts have just reported an abomination.
Right. Now to go... Just to complete the playthrough, we're just going to go section by section. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to follow the road, because we have to go to the burial grounds in the Cold Plains. This road will lead us to our next zone. Hey buddy, you look just enough for EXP. This game is just so much fun. I can play it for hours and kind of get lost in it. I was very ill for the last couple of months. And playing this was like the only thing I had the energy to do. So I played this, and I played GeoGuessr, which GeoGuessr is another thing that's going to be streamed. I got to figure out what my scheduling for the weeks are going to be, but GeoGuessr is definitely going to be on them. Another thing is, I am not just going to be like a Diablo streamer or a video game streamer. When I can get it set up, I am going to stream assembling and painting Warhammer miniatures. Because I have a huge pile of shame, and I have been playing, or at least collecting. There's a lot of editions I've been playing, but I have collected since '99. No, yeah. Well, technically I got it for Christmas in '98, but semantics there. But I've been playing and painting since the late '90s, early aughts. And so, just gonna do, like, I know there's hundreds of people out there that are painting stuff, but I'm gonna show my techniques and stuff that I've learned over the years. Especially just to get stuff tabletop quality, and how to use different techniques and how to use paints together to get effects that you want. There's something I don't see a lot of people talking about on YouTube tutorial videos when it comes to, especially using contrast paints. The contrast paints are really, really good. So are the speed paints. But if you want to get more mileage out of them, using ink, mixing in ink with them, because what the ink will do is its particles will settle to the bottom first, because it's an opaque layer. And then the semi-translucent layer of the contrast will go over top of that and will give you a... Oh, I thought I heard a gem drop. It will give you certain effects. So my favorite is using a very bright, vibrant yellow for ink, and using orc flesh or something similar to that in the contrast line for green glow effects. Because if you put that over white, you get a very nice natural green glow. Especially if you're putting it into recesses on like Necrons, or if anybody ever remembers the game War Machine, all of the Crix War Machines and skeletal units, that works really well on to give that eerie glow. And you don't really have to do a ton extra to get that cool glow effect. It just is it just is kind
Whose
of there.
handiwork lies
One second,
buried
gotta
here?
take a drink. Hydrate or dehydrate? And so here we can see that we have reached the burial grounds. And so we come to the natural habitat of the undead siren, hidden amongst the zombies in a graveyard, a natural habitat. This is, spoiler alert a little bit, for a now 30-year-old game. This is the archer you can play from Diablo 1. Unfortunately, they all end up being corrupted because Diablo gets angry at them.
What I kill stays dead.
The characters in this game have funny little quips like that when they complete quests. There's 2 catacombs I could go into there. They would give me extra levels, but they'd allow me to finish off my level, but I think clearing this zone is going to be a little easier for that. And we still have to find the next zone to move on in the area and quest line. I'm not going back to get my mercenary right now because unfortunately before level 10, if you get a mercenary, they usually end up dying super easily and you never remember to go revive them, or at least I don't. So I'm not going to bother until I have another need to go back to town. Like when we find Deckard Cain. Come, take a listen. The shrines in here enhance your abilities while you're running around. The one I currently have means that I don't run out of stamina. Oh, I forgot to mention earlier, a cool thing about assassins is they do not require keys to open locked chests. They just, as a class, have the ability to just open them. So, even though keys stack, you never actually have to take up inventory space with them. Though I notice a lot of people, especially like when they do cow runs, if there's like a lot of locked chests, no one bothers. They just get past them. And their loss is my gain, because that's how I've gotten a bunch of my grand charms and necklaces. Level am I? I am 5. Okay. What the? Oh. Where am I going? Where am I after? Ooh, is that 3 open socketed? No. While you're adventuring, it's always good to, like, check. Because if you can find good, like, 2 and 3 socketed items, especially as an assassin, keep a hold of that. There's 2 rune words you can make that are pretty easy at low levels. One's a 2 open socket and the other's a 3 open socket. And they just make life easier. Mind you, you can't use them till you're in the 20s level-wise. And it would definitely be for the Marshall or Blade Sin, but they make life so much easier. Try and kill their wizards first. This might get me killed here in a second. But the last of the wizards things. Yes. Okay, so I'm gonna run over here, so in case I do die. Alright, this is why I say I hate this. It doesn't deal a whole lot of damage.
Not enough mana.
And it eats up mana real quick.
Not enough mana.
Honestly, I think even at like higher levels, if you max it out, it really does not do that much for you. Oh, I think I'm losing. Okay, good. A little bit of a hiccup in the matrix there. And I will say that is the problem for playing online characters or not offline only characters. Is if you are trying, you have to connect to Battle.net, which isn't a bad thing. It's just there are times when it can be kind of laggy, and even playing like this where it's just me on a good internet, I can't control the Battle.net servers, so there are just weird hiccups. Okay. And if y'all are wondering why sometimes I'll take a potion and then it will, like, items will start showing up, or the name of items will, before stream, I forgot to swap my mouse settings back over to Diablo mode, and so, from my Final Fantasy mode, and so my mouse, keys, the side ones, because I use Naga, are programmed to Alt 1 through equal sign, and that is because that's how I play 14. I have a Nostromo gamepad and a Naga mouse down to play that, but it's just the Alt button that brings that up. My middle mouse button is actually middle mouse is just middle mouse. It's auto run, so that works for this game as well if you have that preset. Cool, we found Deckard Cain's thing. So now we have to go 3 zones over to actually get the materials to complete the quest. There will always be this blue guy here guarding the stones. So at low levels, if you're playing multiplayer and you get a flush and you have to level, this will take you to Tristram,
ancient power.
and this dude is always here. Oh, bollocks. Hey, I leveled up though before I died. Cool.
Greetings.
So, back out to the stony fields. And that was the second time I died. Hey, cool. Oh, it's not gonna... Okay, apparently they changed that. Used to, you could just save your skills up. Now you cannot. I haven't tried that since I started playing the new updated version. And this is why I hate enemies with lightning. Okay. Well, if that's the case, then fine. We will just blow them all up. But yeah, this blue guy is always here. To cause trouble. Oh, you just dropped 2 scimitars. see what our jewel gives. Oh! Oh my, that actually is a good one. Nope. Okay. So now we know where arcane stuff is. What we have to do from here is, like I said, we actually have to go through a couple of zones to get the required piece to complete this quest. So we're just gonna move along. Also, I don't want to until I get to use my Saigons. Probably have to go through here. I'll put quilted armor on. That is the one part when you're doing this solo that is kind of meh, is the fact that sometimes you do actually have to gear up. Even if you have like gear that you know you need to get into, sometimes you gotta spend a little bit of gold at one of the shops. Especially if the random generated world they put you in ends up having a bunch of the higher level, or not higher level, but the gold named, the rare enemies, which luckily we haven't run into any other than the two that are naturally always going to be there. So the blue guy in the Den of Evil, and the blue guy guarding the stones for saving Cain. Those two guys are always going to be there. There is... I think that's it for the... why am I drawing a blank? I think that's it for, like, guaranteed spawns in Act 1. They're always just going to be gold named. Because outside of them, you just have the quest ones. Like, you have the Smith in Tristram. You have the Blood Raven. You have the Dark Mistress in the tower, which is the quest we just picked up. You have the actual Smith, which is before you get to the catacombs. He's an, or not Smith, the jailer. For some reason, he has the town smith's magical hammer. Yeah, this is... This is probably the boring part of playing, is just running around trying to find the next map. I don't think I need to take the tunnel. Let's see. Oh yeah, I do have to take underground passage. Okay. So this is probably one of the biggest maps in all of the game. Yeah. Crunchity crunchity crunch. But yeah, this map actually has 2 exits. One goes down to floor 2, which is really small, but you don't, there's no real way of telling which way you need to go. And if you don't go the right way, you're kind of stuck. Guys. If you don't have, because I've never used a bot or a mod on the game, but there are programs that allow you to essentially, the program essentially hacks or finds out what what the generated seed is, because there's only so many that they can pull from, so it's not fully randomized like Minecraft would be, but it just pulls them up and just pops up a completed map for you whenever you enter a zone, which I don't like, but I'm not going to hate on people that use it, because to be fair, there's a lot of bots in this game, and you're going to level a lot if you're in multiplayer by using those bots to find or to do ball runs or secret cow level runs, and you will know them instantly when you see them, because they're usually a sorceress or a hammer it in, and they just teleport. Essentially, it takes them 2 seconds to teleport where they need to go to get to the part of the map to move on to, and it's like, okay, so you found, in 2 seconds, you found how to get to the Throne of Destruction from the waypoint, right, and you didn't have help. And they also don't talk, ever, really. So, like, if you're like, hey, how's your day going? Just silence. Also, I don't know if nowadays they have the same things, but in the old days, there used to be, like, if you are looking to be interested in playing it, just be careful what bots or what assistant program you're using for your Diablo game, because the old days, there's a lot that would be like, oh yeah, this is, you know, this is a map assistant, and when you would boot it up, it would when you boot the game up, it would log into each of your characters sequentially and force them to drop everything they held. If you went to a battle.net server and did it, it would auto-create a free drop game, and then it would just give up everything you had. So if you're going to do that, please be wary. I do not like promoting those type things, but at the same time, I'm not your mother. I'm not the mods at battle.net. I'm going to upgrade my armor because hard leather is better. And yes, that is what she said. Oh god.
Not enough mana.
Not enough mana. Alright, let's see if I'm far enough where I can get through and kill these. Nope, I'm not. Not good. Oh, there's a wall here. Thank you. Cool. Saved my bacon. Well, like you can see, this is just super. The size of this map. Do y'all have a reviver over here? No? Okay, cool. So, thank you for crowding around me. I'm not going to blow you up. Said I'll refill my mana. Let's see if I can round you guys up again. Okay, let's go back to this well, replenish our health. Assassin needs health. Red Wizard needs food badly. Green Wizard is out of mana. If anybody gets those references, I'm glad you spent as much time in an arcade as I did as a kid. I will say the cool thing about this game is, while I don't like playing Sorceress, they have kind of the easiest builds to do. And you can either go for damage output, or if you have a friend who's like a Barbarian or a Hammeridin, you just spec into Teleport, your self-defense spells, and Enhance. And so when your Barbarian or Hammeridin friend goes and plays, you literally do nothing but buff them and stand there and look pretty. Which, the character model's not bad looking.
Mana.
So I'm not complaining anything there. But you can do that. So essentially assassins have, or sorceresses have like 4 builds. Technically they have more than that, because even within each build, there's like 2 ways you can go. So they have like the most diverse way to play. Assassins have, I will say assassins, you can play 4 different ways. One of the builds that we'll be working through, the Bladestorm assassin, essentially has 2 of the builds built into it. So you can either do Bladestorm, which is great for single target, or if you have the Chaos Claw, which I have built, you can do decent AoE damage.
I need mana.
It's really nothing to write home about, and I found that unless you really make yourself defensive and debuff the enemy with curses, that build is very not good. But I built the claw, so I'll show y'all the loadout for it anyway. Because it's cool being able to use Whirlwind as an assassin. Where is the way out? See, this is why I said this is literally the biggest map in the game. I think the only thing that comes close to it is the River of Flame in Act 4. Torn portal. Let me clean up my inventory and gear up some. Okay. I will take my assistant.
It is true.
Also, by completing the Den of Evil, if down the line you feel you need to respec into anything, that unlocks your ability to do that for free. If you don't use that, then you have to pay a surcharge, not gonna lie. It is, so one of the tokens that allows you to respec at higher levels, if you try and trade for it and you don't like go through all the work to farm for it yourself, will cost you one of those gems or runes that creates endgame gear. So what I'm going to do here real quick is, nope, I'm just going to pull 10,000 out. And if you're starting out, the best thing to do, instead of playing solo like I am,
Yes.
because I'm kind of doing the weirdo thing, if for an online player, is really just play with other people, join games, make a game if nobody's, doing the content you need done, and then level with people. The only reason I'm not doing that right now is because people can say and do things that would get me in trouble if they did that, so I'm not taking that risk while I stream. Once we complete Act 1 once we complete the playthrough of at least normal mode, I will grind off stream, before we get to Nightmare, and then when we finish Nightmare, I'll work off stream to get a high enough level for, Hell. And that will be for this build. For the other builds, I'll probably talk about them in a shorter video and then do something else, and then I'll just get a rush offline.
Hi there.
Unless y'all really, really like just watching me running around through the thing and showing you the struggle of playing each class. To which case, fair enough. Which I'd be glad to do. I just didn't know if that would be boring to y'all over time or not. So unfortunately, yes, I do need to buy that. Buy that. Ooh. Definitely use that. No, I'm not going to use the second guitar. Yeah, I'm going to go to the other dude and see if I can gear up a little bit more. So this guy, you can gamble for blues. Occasionally you might get a yellow, but primarily you just get blues from him. But this is why I come over here to him for, is to buy this sort of gear. Get that. Get that. So I'm not completely... Okay, cool. Something I had to relearn was how to gear up my mercenary, before I go too far. If you want to gear your mercenary up so they can buff you or debuff the enemy, you can hit O, and that brings up what they know, when they'll unlock things, because they level up when you do, but they're always 2 levels lower than you. You can give them a headgear, a body, and a weapon. If it's a barbarian, you can give them 2 weapons. If it's the Act 3, kind of like battle mage, you can give them a sword and shield. The Act 2 merc counts as a paladin, so if you give him gear that increases paladin skills, he's a little bit more effective. The Act 3 mercenary is considered a sorceress because of the skills they get. Act 1 is a bow Amazon, specifically. Act 4, you don't get one, and then Act 5, you get barbarian as a really? Where is it? Did I miss the path? Because I know for this, you don't have to go to passage 2. Really? Oh yeah, I did miss the path. Okay. So I've got to go, like, southeast. But yeah, this map and the River of Flame are equally as large. Some shrines do recharge over time, so you can come back to them and get the buff again. Not all of them do, though. Like ones that give you sprint or EXP boost, those don't, but the ones that are like little wells, they will. Oh, there we go. There's to the Darkwoods. And so our adventurer found a moon. They walked around the Darkwoods, searching for the waypoint, as well as the tree to finally save Deckard King. Will our bright young adventurer be able to complete the task? Who knows? But I do know, they do know that they need to go back and put a town portal down in case they die.
I need mana.
Before I die, yes I can too. Oh, that was a perfect level up timing. So getting up there with strength. Again, our build really just needs strength for our armors. We can do dex later because the only thing to unlock with dex is the sword that we can use, and that is level 25.
Not enough mana.
So being able to equip all of our survivability gear early is going to help us out way more. So there's the next zone. Oh, there's the tree.
Not enough mana.
Assassin needs mana. And
How is
yep,
this
there's the big
tree
boys.
escaped corruption?
Oh, I gotta make room for that. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. Wait, 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 wait. Ow. Yes. Yes, my mercenary tank it. There we go. Okay. Why did I accidentally pick up a club? Okay, so this scroll, before I head back, I'm going to find the waypoint first. That scroll will take it to the nice magical lady that heals us and gives us our skills. And she will translate it and tell us how to save Deckard Cain back in the Stony Fields. For the foreseeable future, I'm probably going to be doing this, streaming this Wednesdays and Friday mornings. My goal is to start at by 9 and then kind of run until we get to our goal. My goal this time is to complete Act 1, which didn't take super long because we're already halfway. Really, we just got through one of the most annoying parts, and that's finding our way through that tunnel. The rest of it is just, do we outgear the difficulty curve? Because by the time we get to the catacombs, the enemy's difficulty kind of ramps up after you get past the jailer. Not that that's a bad thing, it's just, it's going to take a little longer because I'm going to have to retreat, use potions, play a lot more strategically instead of just Leroy Jenkinsing it like I have been. Like right now, the only time I'm actually scared for my character for dying and having to run all the way back is if I come across a gold named enemy. Otherwise, we are pretty good.
I need mana.
The thing is, I could gear this mercenary up, but honestly, the best mercenaries to use are from Act 2 or Act 5. Depending on your sorceress build, Act 5 is better. And that, again, that's going back to the you've chosen to be
Not
an
enough
enchant
mana.
sorceress instead of a damage output sorceress. Act 5's barbarian mercenary is best for you. For everybody else, there's MasterCard. I mean, for everybody else, there's the Act 2 Paladin. So back to the rogue encampment. I know, right?
Oh,
Well, right now I'm rushing headlong in. It's gonna be it's gonna be in a minute when I start actually having to be careful. And it's more of this build. If I was the other two builds, they very much are always just headstrong because they're melee based. Especially until you can really set up or get enough skill points into your Blade Sentinel for the Blade Storm or Blade Fury build. Because if you can get 4 or 5 into this, you can be a little bit more aggressive, but at lower levels, you treat the Blade Fury Assassin very similar to a trap, except you have a lot more melee build, because your damage here, yes, you get an increase to your damage from Blade Shield and Blade Sentinel, but your base damage is based off of your weapon damage. So for this build, you just max out Claw Mastery, have a Claw or 2 equipped, and then go through. So you essentially have a melee build, because you're just doing melee from a distance with that build. But the other two, you have no choice but to kind of run headlong into something. So now we're going to the Stony Field. Need to read this real quick. Yeah, whatever. I'm just going to randomly click on them. Because it's faster than thinking about it. And now we get to go visit Diablo 1. I wonder if there's a weird gnarled tree somewhere in England
Tristram.
that if you
First to
punch
fall to
it, a
Diablo's
scroll
wrath.
comes out, and then you go find a mystical witch somewhere else to translate the scroll, and then you go back to Stonehenge if it creates a portal.
Help!
I'm here to save you, Deckard
Go to
Kane.
the road camp.
Quick, Kane, use a town portal. One, buddy, I'm just swapping this one, because I know you're going to chase after me.
need mana.
Oh, I'm about to die. Whoops. Alright. So, actually, for a while, if you get rushed through the game, this is a part of the game you're going to get sick of very quickly, because you have to keep coming back here to level. Because until you're level 20, you can't complete the Ancients. And yes, I know there are ways of cheating around that. Because once the Ancients are completed, you can still just walk down the stairs. You just can't take a town portal to into the catacombs unless you already have the waypoint. So yes, I know you can cheat it that way. But if you don't go through that process, then you have to be level 20 to actually complete the Ancients. So the best way to level is to run this area over and over again until you're level 15, unless you're doing the solo run, in which case you will have all the levels you need before you ever get to Act 5. As a matter of fact, there are points when I will have to log out and log back in just to essentially do EXP runs.
Not enough mana.
Okay, let's restock on potions. Chip diamond, town portal. Not playing a druid, so I don't need the wolf's head. Okay. So let's... Since I already have a TP far enough into the dark woods, I'm just going to run back to the waypoint here. So, deposit that for my mule. Oh, sweet, I can wear my gloves now. Okay, cool.
As a token of my
As
gratitude,
a token of my
I
gratitude,
will
I will
identify
items for you at no
and
charge.
regrettably, I could do nothing to prevent the disaster which devastated Tristram. It would appear that our greatest fears have come to pass. Diablo,
The Lord of Terror, has once again been set loose upon the world. Yeah, we know. That's why we're here, is to stop Diablo, or else there wouldn't be a game. And the cool thing about these gloves is they give us 10 strength, which then allows us to put most of the rest of our gear on. Okay, so I'll just sell that stuff. Only thing we can't do is our shield. We're still going to be putting in a ton of strength. We still have to do 15 more strength, so 3 more levels of it. But the rest of our gear will help us out till then. So let me set that down there. Set these up here for safety so I don't do something stupid. One thing about me when I organize my stuff, I'm very, like, weirdly OCD with how I put it. You may have noticed when I had my gear, showed the gear sets earlier, they are set up in a very specific way. And that's because in my mind it's just easier. Oh, I'm leveling, so I gotta go to this stack because that's my leveling stack. And, oh, okay, this is my end game set. Alright, now we're in the Black Marsh. This is an area that, in this difficulty, the quest here isn't that beneficial to us. Not to say that, you know, running the quest isn't going to be good just for completion's sake, but the reward we get from the end of it doesn't do much until you get to Nightmare and Hell difficulty. Because what we're doing here is what we're doing here is we are looking for the Forgotten Tower. And what the Forgotten Tower does is it gives us, or at least the boss that you kill at the bottom of it, gives us runes or gems. So there's two quests in the game where you get runes and gems from. You get them specifically from the non-repeatable Soulsmith in Act 4. That's where you crush Manifest on Soul and you get guaranteed perfect gems and a rune out of it. But unfortunately, like I said, that's non-repeatable. You do that once per difficulty. The other one, which is where a lot of people farm their runes, is the Forgotten Tower, because the boss at the bottom is guaranteed to drop a rune. And the way the programming is for Nightmare and Hell difficulties is she has a higher chance of dropping higher end runes. So like the runes to make the good gear. And she will only drop a certain... She has a threshold for the level that she'll drop the runes for. So you're not going to get any... In those two difficulties, you don't get any of the absolute basic... see, we're here at the Forgotten Tower.
Who would want to remember this place?
You get a guaranteed minimum of a certain type of rune. So that's why in those two difficulties, that's what a lot of people farm runes from if they don't do it from the cow level. Because the cow level doesn't have a guaranteed rune drop, but it can drop all runes. And it's a lot easier to run through that in 5 minutes or less to try and farm, especially in health difficulty, rather than trying to run through this for an hour. Because if you're not geared real well in Nightmare or Hell difficulty, the walk down to level 5 of this place can take a while. I know because I did it for a while under geared, and each run would take me 15 minutes. Just because I had to be careful because of resistances and all that nonsense. So that is why. And now I get my shield. Okay, cool. Just drop that. Let's see. There's pillars over here, so nope. Okay. Mind you, each of these floors isn't big, but when you're dealing with specters that have magic and physical resistance, to like a high level, it is very hard to get through here. I leveled a sorceress just so I could help people by rushing them. This game is the remake is actually harder than the original. The original, a sorceress, you could just kind of gear up, and you, as long as you were level 70 or above, you could easily rush people through Act 1 and, through normal and Nightmare difficulties. In the remastered version, that is not the case. In the remaster, you have to be really well geared if you're going to try and solo any sort of end of act boss without any help. I think the only class that can really do it is the Paladin, And if you're doing it as a paladin, you probably have at least an enigma, so your gear is already kind of good. So, oh, already made it to level 5, nice. But yeah, if you're doing it as a Hammeridin, you probably already have your enigma, so you probably already have your spirit weapon and shield. You have your Heart of the Oak flail, or called to arms flail. And this is the room where this is her healing compass. See, she dropped a tall rune. And then the chest opens. If you repeat this for the rune, you do not get the chest drops. This only drops for the quest itself.
It almost
So every
covers
time
the
you come
stench.
down here afterwards to fight her, you'll only get that rune. But she is guaranteed to drop a rune. Level 17, see?
Well,
So here, we're going to talk to Akara, get the reward from that, which is... Are you trying to tell me I need to see the light, Akara? Is that what that ring was supposed to mean? Alright, so now we're in the final stretch. Now that we're actually geared up, I don't have to be as careful, but I do have to kind of kite a little bit, because right now I don't have the traps that target enemies. I just have the ones that they have to passively, like, walk into, or I have to throw it at them. And as you saw earlier, the throwing one of the firebomb, not good. So, in this game, most classes have class-specific gear. Assassins, it's just their weapons. Barbarians get helms. Druids get helms. Necromancers get a type of shield, which is called a petrified head. It's like a shrunken or preserved head. Sorceresses get two specific types of wands, and paladins get a specific type of shield, or they get 3 different types of shields that are specific to them, as well as a type of or 2 types of maces. But outside of that, the rest of the gear is universal. You just have to meet the stat requirements for it, which, if you're not used to, like, if you're used to other MMOs and other games, or games like this, it might be a little weird that you have to make your stats go up for your specific pieces of gear. When I got into playing MMOs for the first time, like I said last time I played this before I just repicked it up, was back in 2003, before I picked this up a couple months ago again. I played Final Fantasy 11, so the original MMO, by them, and my PC could run it. It didn't run it well, so the game kept crashing when I finally just gave up, because it was requiring way too much hassle at the time. But when I finally got through with it, or finally gave up on it, I came back to this for another couple years. I then just kind of stopped playing MMOs and got into shooters and started playing Halo and got into glitching out of games like Halo 1, Halo 2, the original Greg Hastings paintball game. I actually got into competitive. I got into esports for a while as a mid-teen. I really don't want to talk about that too much because that was way too stressful and ruined way too many friendships with good people online, especially back in the Xbox days. But I played Halo, Halo 2, Battlefield 2, and 3, Battlefield 3 for the competitive, and COD. Was not a huge fan of competitive COD, so I just went with my team to the Battlefield tournaments, and I ended up training a couple of other groups that were in our larger like clan at the time. So Sacred Globe is a sorceress weapon. I'll pick that up because that might give sorceress skills, so I can give that to somebody. But I ended up just training other people in Halo because most of the people that were on my team did so poorly at one of the tournaments. They kicked them out, but they were still on my friends list, so I'd go play with them a lot and then train the new people the clan wanted me to train up, which was kind of fun, but at the same time, these are the days when people were...
A malice. This should go to Chorcy.
I'll just put it this way. Even in Halo, people were acting like they were in COD lobbies after COD became popular. So, it was not really my cup of tea to do anymore, so I left that. And luckily, by the time I got through with that, 11 came out for the 360. So I got back into MMOs with that. I played Phantasy Star Online a fair bit as well. Back in those days. But 11 was definitely my jam. 11 was the only time so far that I've ever properly endgamed, and I spent so much time and energy and effort getting good at endgaming for that when Square Enix had to swap dev teams, had to swap the 11 dev team over to help revive 14, and essentially work on making a Realm Reborn. They swapped the teams around, and the original 14 team kind of ruined 11 while they were especially ruining endgame stuff. Like, I know people are gonna be like, oh, they made it more accessible by taking the level cap off and not requiring you to have to pay 500,000 gil for, or well, that was one endgame thing. Like 75,000 to 500,000 gil for in-game material. Yes, I agree on that. It made it more accessible for people. They made it more soloable. But for those of us who played it for years, when it was, you had to make friends if you wanted to get any like story content done, if you wanted to properly level, unless you were the two classes that could solo level in the game. Yeah, unless you wanted to do that, it was very much, you were sitting in Juno or your or one of the ports waiting for people to come through, looking for players to fill out a party, and there was no party finder. It was, you sat there for hours waiting for people to shout for a party, or you sat there for hours shouting for a party to be made. And when they simplified it, a lot of people just went over to 14, the original, and
Not enough mana.
when that one became a flop, a lot of them just didn't come back to 11. So I lost a lot of good friends because of that. So I haven't gone back to... I went back to 11 for like a day, and the graphics and everything in it are so bad, run through a very high-end like gaming computer, that it was very difficult to play at all. Right now we're just running through the jail. We already got the waypoint. The place after this is going to be a courtyard, which we'll get a waypoint for, and then from there we're going to go into the catacombs, and we're going to be bringing Act 1 to completion. So, like I said earlier, these enemies become more difficult, but now that we're geared up, with like actually good gear, we're not going to notice that difficulty curve as bad. Right now, it's literally just clearing out things that are in our way for EXP, and then finding our passage. Because right now, while yes, these guys do give decent EXP, we get way better EXP once we get to the catacombs. We almost get 3 times the EXP by going through the catacombs. So the faster we get through here, the faster we can get back on track for just leveling, which will prepare us for the final boss and playoff. Hey buddy, I see you stuck over there. Actually, hold on, since there's no enemies around me. Now when I hover over, you can see all the bonuses I get from the set. I forgot to do this earlier when I equipped it all. That is my bad, y'all. So now attackers take 20 damage per piece. Or that gives 20 damage to them. This gives plus 24 defense. So as we level, our defense gets better. This gives increased attack speed. This gives better magic items and attack. This gives better attack rating. This gives nothing because it already gave that. But we get base plus 100 defense, 20 mana, fire resist, maximum fire damage, which we don't do. But if you're playing a fire source, this is a good set to have for a while. As a matter of fact, before you get a lot of your other gear updates, you'll have a sword at level 23 that gives you plus 3 to your fire skills. So this with that works till you're in your 40s and can get a bunch of the actual good high-end gear. So yeah, I just wanted to cover that. So you do get these bonuses with sets. The high-end sets, so gear that requires you to have or sets that eventually lead up to at least 1 or 2 pieces being over level 60. Those usually actually give you a appearance change. For the Blade Fury, for the Blade Fury Assassin, we're actually going to use Natalia set at the higher levels, and it makes you look like a ghost version of the armor from Act 3. We haven't seen them yet. We won't see them until we get to Act... No, we'll see them when we get into the catacombs. But if you're a necromancer and you get the necromancer set, which is Tall Rashas, you actually turn into one of the specter things we'll be fighting down here. If you're a sorceress and you do the Tall Rashas, oh, it's Tang's Ol for necromancer. Tall Rashas is sorceress. The sorceress just, Tall Rashas just gives you a golden glow. I'm not sure what the Paladin set and Barbarian set do. I've never seen anybody with the full Cow King or God, what's the name of it? The Paladin set. I don't know the name of it. I've seen it dropped in 3 games a million times, like the full set of it. I've never actually seen anybody wear it. No. Give specific skills, not overall skills. So now we're coming to the next level. So here we need to find our waypoint and then just work our way down to level 4 where we will fight the boss, and that will be like I said, there are certain areas I have to be more careful. Actually, floor 3 and the boss floor are not nearly as dangerous as that room. Those guys are like the hardest thing you end up fighting in here, which can be annoying, but we're low level. They need to throw something difficult at us. Oh, no wonder I've had peace to stream without the kitty cat. Love you. That was my fiance letting my cat back into my room. Because apparently earlier while we were talking, the cat escaped. Alright, if y'all want to come after me, y'all are going to have to come through this doorway, which I am trapping. Yeah, those guys, and then in Act 2, the beetles that, they're beetles that send out essentially what our next trap we're gonna, take up is. They deal that, and it's super annoying. Oh, health potion, mana potion, healing, okay. Okay. Oh.
I need mana.
That was easy enough. Yeah, the guys that shoot lightning like that, you'll see a variant of them in Act 5, but I don't think we see those in any other act. Whereas the spiders you'll see in Act 3, Act 2, Act 5. There are some enemies where you will see them multiple times, but some enemies are very unique to their act. Hello, kitty cat. Are you coming up here to get in the way? Uh-huh. Scoop. Sit you on the floor. There we go. Kitty cat sees that I'm busy, so she must get up on my desk and get in the way.
Not enough mana.
Exactly. Come here, kitty cat. Don't feel. She's fine. She's just clinging to me now. And yet, you act so shocked and you made no noise to let us know you were out there. Finally, we find the waypoint. I'm having to hold on my arms. If that doesn't say how, like, just user-friendly this game is, I literally have a cat laying in my arms, and I'm not too chuffed at how things are gonna play. Let me get a boss back on my shirt. Come on. There we go. Good job. There's so many.
Not enough mana.
Okay, so now we're getting into the traps that we'll use for the rest of the game. Not specifically this one, but this one's really good till we get our last one. So it just shoots off a ton of lightning bolts. The next one that we'll unlock actually shoots like lightning through enemies. Unfortunately, it's not chain lightning, so it doesn't chain. It just goes in a straight line. But yeah, it'll be nothing. Its damage output's really good, though. There we go. Catacombs level 3. Mainly because that was a long walk. So we're coming into the end game now, just going through rooms, trying to find the last passage, and then the boss. Mind you, the difference between this game and Diablo 1 is the bosses, or essentially this game actually has like bosses, whereas Diablo 1 did not. And so then in each act there's like specific fights you do. Each one is a demon
I need mana.
They're all demons of Diablo, but Mephiston, when you fight him, makes reference that
I need mana.
I will avenge all of my brothers. So it shows that like every single one that we fight is a true demon. need mana. Uh-oh. Oh well. I'll just smack things in the face. If I have to. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to this drop. It uses less mana. And just a little bit more effective on the damage. This thing, the banish, is what the Tangol's set will turn you into when you have the full set on. And yes, level 4. Okay. Now it is time to kill Andariel. Why is nobody dropping? Oh, Chip Sapphire. Why is no one dropping bloody mana pot? Okay, before I fight Enduro, I do need to go back to town. I need mana.
Hello.
Get 4 of those. Okay. Alright. Now it's time to face the boss. The boss is actually less dangerous than some of the mobs. In Act 2, the boss is definitely just a lot chunkier than everything else. He's not super, like, he doesn't deal a whole lot of damage.
Hello.
Alright, so
This is
another
a
deck of
great
King.
victory.
In victory,
And
yes.
The
The caravan is ready. We will take the caravan
Oh,
shortly. I just want to finish those 2 quests. Imbue an item with magical power. I will come back and do that at another point. Because now
Good day.
it's time to go east. And with that, this will be the end of part 1. Part 2 we'll be doing Friday morning, and we will be working our way through Act 2.
Over the mountains and into the
Act 2 is actually significantly shorter than Act 1.
As the days passed, my companion told
It's
me
just there's
himself
a high
that he
level of
had
difficulty
once been a great
in
warrior,
one of the areas.
and that a dark
If you do not have your
force
skills up high enough to kill some of the
now
creatures fast
weighed
enough,
heavily
the difficulty will be they will kill you before you have a chance to take them out.
across that barren wasteland. How long?
And
I couldn't say.
they're the beetles I was saying earlier give do the lightning damage that the trap I just unlocked does, but theirs is a lot stronger and if you do not have a high level of lightning resist, or do not kill them in 2 shots, they will destroy you every time just being near them. I know it's hard to see, but that is the ocean behind the city.
That last night. Perhaps it was the warm desert wind or the sound of the ocean, but for the first time in many weeks, I slept. However, the dreams returned, but these were clearly not my own. I beheld a vision of a great man, the mage, Talrasha. You were there too, Tyrael. I remember seeing you in my dream. His brethren had cornered a great demon, Baal, Lord of Destruction, who had been sentenced upon the world. They attempted to imprison the demon within a sacred stone. Yet when their attempts failed, Talrasha selflessly volunteered to contain the demon within himself, completing the prison. He instructed his brethren to bind him within a tomb, buried under the sand, there to wrestle with the demon for all eternity.
Now you know what I seek, Marius. This is my brother. Sleep now. We set out with the dawn.
East? I thought you said west.
The next morning, we walked over the hill toward Lut Gholein. I had no idea then of the horrors that were in store for me there.
The Dark Traveler's Companion kind of reminds me of like a tall Dobby.
Greetings.
Alright, and with that, we've made it to Act 2. This will be where we stop for the day. I want to thank everybody who's here. I see that there's been 3 of y'all watching for the whole video. I really appreciate it. Thank y'all for coming out. My stream schedule right now is going to be Wednesday and Friday mornings, starting at 9. The length of the videos are more going to be oriented towards like the goal of the video rather than a set time. So sometimes they'll be
Greetings.
an hour long, sometimes they might be up to 3. If they are a shorter stream, I will try and make 2 goals for those, especially if I know I can get through it. I know Act 2 is going to be a relatively short stream. It's definitely going to be shorter than Act 1. But, if that is the case, that might be the only short stream we have. Because Act 3 will make up for that. Act 3 makes Act 1 look like a joke. Some of the areas are very massive. Like I said earlier, that one map is like tied for like the second largest. Act 3 just has one large forest you go through. It's really confusing. So Act 3 might actually end up being like a 3 or 4 hour stream. So, again, I want to thank everybody. I don't do social media, but after the video goes up, if you would like to support me, because the YouTube algorithm is not going to like my jokes or my humor. And as you saw at the end of Act 1, some of the bosses in some of these games are not child-friendly. So, for the foreseeable future, if you like my content and want to support me, that Ko-Fi page will be posted.
Greetings.
I appreciate everybody for being here. Yeah, I look forward to seeing everybody next time, and next time we will tackle the desert. I hate sand. It's coarse and it gets everywhere. And cat. And Keycat's getting in the way now.